Hey guys, Dustin Schaefer here. So I want to take a second and just I'm in my kids' room on purpose actually. I want to talk about performance. I want to talk about why I went 4 days with no keto and just a little bit about my backstory. So first off, the last 4 days I went without keto. That's Keto Nat, Prove Its products, and without being in a diet. So over the last 20 years, this is the longest I've went without having ketones in my body. And I did it kind of as a social experiment, kind of as something to do. Like I just like to experiment myself, but also just to see kind of what happens, like what's going to happen when you take ketones out of your body. So here's the story. So 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was a former recon Marine college athlete. I was one of those guys, I was active. By the time I was in my early 20s, I was broken down. Everything hurt. I needed my knees replaced. I had some bad head injuries from football. I was told I couldn't play college football after my second year. I was no longer able to play because of my head injury, because of my knees, because my body was breaking down. And then the dark side started coming after that. Did an experimental surgery on my body. I got diagnosed with autoimmune disorder. I just lost hope, lost faith in what I could do and who I was. It was just like a bad place in my life, right? You know, you wake up and you don't even recognize who you are, right? Everything you dreamt about in your life it's so far away that you feel like you're never going to have it. And, and then your mood goes down and you kind of are depressed and, you don't thrive, right? And it was just a real bad time. The late 20s was a real bad time in my life. And I got to the point where I couldn't even walk around the block. I'd take a ball and I would sit up on top of a hill and throw a ball down the hill and just to play with my dog. So because I knew she needed to go for a walk, but I didn't really have the energy to go walk. My work got less and less. I was becoming less and less social. Alcohol started becoming better and better to me, which I knew wasn't a good thing. I had a very substance abuse in my family was very big, and my dad was an alcoholic, and it was just one of those things where I can't go down that rabbit hole. But I felt more normal when I drank than any other time. And so, lo and behold, as somebody that's been studying the body, learning nutrition, learning health, learning human performance, and that's what my passion was, is like, how do you perform better? Like, it's all about performance. Yes, I'm going to get to why I did 4 days with no keto, but it was always about performance. I started working with high-level athletes. I started working with everyday people, CEOs of major companies and corporations, and how can we help them perform better? But at the end of the day, I couldn't look in the mirror, and I wasn't performing better. And if you're a coach, if you're somebody that's trying to inspire others, if you're not walking the walk, and you're just talking the talk, there's an incongruency there, and that's not good. That's not good, and it's not something that I could live with in myself. Like, I got to do something about it, and I tried everything. I spent a few $100,000 trying to get myself back together, get my life back together, and tried some things that you probably shouldn't try. Caused probably more damage in some scenarios. I did crazy cleanses. I did crazy doctors from Russia, doctors from Eastern Asia, doctors from America, naturopathic, holistic, functional doctors, chiropractors that think they're naturopathic. I mean, it was across the board. Traditional doctors, the VA. I went through the gamut, and at the end of the day, they all cared. They all suggested what they thought was right. Right, and I don't ever hold that against them, because some of them asked more questions than others. Some of them didn't know what to ask. Most of them go like, I don't understand why your system is shutting down at such a young age. There's no obvious reason. And then they finally tested me for autoimmune and realized that my immune system's, spun on high. And truth is now that I understand why that all happens, I think that, I created it. I caused it. I think it was stress induced via exercise primarily and sleep deprivation. That was all caused by myself. It wasn't like I'm a victim. I was the perpetrator. Like, I was the guy robbing myself, if that makes sense, because I just had this addiction to exercise, addiction to push my body, addiction to a high level, and to the point where it was actually a demise, right? And to this day, it's hard for me to take a day off and just relax. Like, it's not fun for me. I want to go. So I realized I probably created my problems. It wasn't, I think we all do, by the way, but it wasn't something that just happened to happen to me. A truck didn't hit me out of the blue, right? It was something that it was ongoing, and I created. And So lo and behold, out of desperation, I did 14 days with no food, and it's something that I don't recommend. I just drank water, and even then, it wasn't the best water. It wasn't the best mineral water. I would do it way better now today, but I felt better after 5 days. I started feeling good, and that was the first time I realized that I was doing something, and this ketogenic effect. Because I'd studied in college, I learned what ketones were, but you didn't do ketones. In the early 90s or mid 90s, I met a bodybuilder who talked about how bread was worse for you than the toppings and the pepperoni of the pizza, and he was basically explaining this to me, but I didn't have the capacity at that time to really grasp what he was saying. But the seed was planted, right? And so I got into ketosis, started living way better. 5 days in, I felt amazing. I remember it's because the fifth day into this, I was actually helping a friend move concrete. Like we were jackhammering up his patio that was all concrete, and when those huge dumpsters, like the large size of the like a semi dumpster. And we had to carry the concrete from the back to the front and throw it in there. And I haven't eaten in 5 days. I feel like crap. And normally I don't walk very far. I don't take my dog for a walk. Like I felt miserable. And I'm going to help. I'm from Minnesota. People ask you to help, you go help. You hear me? And I'm out working everybody. And I felt great. And then they're stopping to eat pizza and they're stopping to have beer. And I'm just like, they're like, you want any? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll just keep going. And so I was 5 days in. I was like, I got back and I was, man, I feel good. And then at the time, my ex-girlfriend, who are still friends of mine, she's like, she came by or whatever one day, or we met out in town and we're still friends. And she's like, man, you seem different. I go, I feel really good. And I don't know why, but something's going on. I'm not eating. And she goes, that's not good. That's not good. You got to eat. And so anyway, that was kind of my first introduction. So I took a year and I added basically one food back for an entire year. And I started eating a modified ketogenic diet, really a modified Atkins diet. So it was relatively low, it was very low carb, relatively moderate protein, and relatively higher fat than I would have normally had prior to that, because my education system told me to eat chicken breast, whole grains, and no fat. Like I followed the rules, and that's what I was doing. That wasn't working. I went gluten-free in 99, so I knew enough about that. I started going paleo in 2000, but I didn't really understand the power of controlling and lowering that blood sugar, controlling that insulin, and getting ketones elevating your system. So lo and behold, fast forward, I've been doing this for a long time, teaching it to people all over the world prior to Prove It. And so for the last 4 years, I've been drinking pure therapeutic ketones from Prove It. And it's completely transformed my life. So 6 months in, like I didn't see this. Some people see a huge difference in their because they haven't had ketones for so long. My body's very accustomed to ketones. But what I started noticing about 4 to 6 months in is that my mobility in my body was better. I could get up and off the floor easier. I didn't have to be strict. Like, so if my wife wanted to, go out and we wanted to have a dessert, I could have a little bit and not feel like I was miserable for 2 days. My brain was all shutting down. And then my wife started noticing, actually my mom and my wife started noticing, you're less anxious. You're more relaxed when there's stress around you. Normally I'm just like, let's get it done, let's get this done. I'm just ramped up all the time, and I just had this calming effect. And it's been really cool watching this because I'm now performing better as a dad. And really what I wanted to talk about is, on here is why I did the 4 days, is that I want to really spend more time focusing on performance than just on drink ketones, lose weight. I want to talk about performance, because at the end of the day, if you want to live a better life, if you want to lose body fat, if you want to be a better mom or better dad, it's all about performing better, right? So I decided, I got challenged a little bit. I decided, okay, I'm going to go 4 days with no keto and see what happens. And so I'm a father of two. I got a daughter and a son behind me, and one on the way. They're fun. Look at that fun picture back there, and amazing kids. I mean, they deserve the world. They deserve the best dad they can possibly get. They deserve the best mom they can possibly get. They truly do, and any parent just wants that for their kids, and so I want to give it to them. And so, and I think we've done a great job. Honestly, we're very critical, and we always try to improve, but we always try to improve us. Instead of putting it on their shoulders, let's improve us. Let's be the better example for them. And so I did this social experiment. I took 4 days off, and what happened is day one on Monday, that day was fine. It wasn't too bad. It was actually good to eat a bunch of carbs. That day we had, what did I have? I had a few French fries. I had some gluten-free pizza. Like I just normally went to that. I had a bunch of fruit. I love fruit, so I had a bunch of fruit. Day two, what I started noticing is the brain slowing down. I started noticing I just didn't have that same pop. Like when I'm talking, I just not lethargic, but just not, it wasn't me. It wasn't full of life, right? And my joints and body felt actually pretty good. Day three, my workout started slowing down. I noticed I wasn't good there. Day three, the sleep started being impacted. I started sweating more at night. it was funny because I just did kind of like the I don't care started coming out of my mind. Like, oh, I don't really care. Normally I'm like, no, let's go pick up the paper. It fell on the floor. Oh, I don't care. Like that started happening in my brain. I'm starting to recognize it. I was like, wow, that's interesting. But what really the eye opener was is that my wife was noticing that she was snapping at me all the time. And I was like, are you drinking your ketones? And so, but she's like, Dustin, she's like, you just took the dirty clothes, like the dirty towels, you just put all the clean sheets in the dirty towel basket. I'm like, why do you have so many baskets anyway? Like, well, that's just stupid. Why do you have so many baskets for everything? And so I'm like, but she's like, that's not, you don't do that, right? And I didn't realize, but like, I'm just cognitively not moving at the same pace. Physically, I felt pretty good, but cognitively, I'm slowing down. And then on day 4, I woke up and it's just like my eyes were puffy, my face was puffy, and I'm actually, today is my first day coming out of it, but I just noticed I wasn't performing. Like, and we'll talk about performance for high-level athletes. I love that side of things, but I wasn't performing as a dad or as a husband, not to the way that I should be performing, because I know that I can perform. And it takes time, right? So now I'm starting in my second half of this process where I'm actually going to leave some carbs in, and I'm just going to drink 2 keto nat a day. I just had my workout today. It was actually really, really good workout. I had 1 keto nat. Normally before my workout I do actually 2. Today I just did 1 because I'm just going to see how this goes. Next week I'll do 2 and really see how it impacts when you elevate your ketones at a high level. But can you do it really without being? Can I do this without being strictly low carb? Even though that's kind of my tendency. The other thing I noticed too when I was in that process is I started like craving more foods, craving more carbs, craving more sugars. And that's dangerous. Long term, that's dangerous. You know, I started seeking out things in the house that like, and it's subconscious. This isn't something that I'm like, I'm just going to jack my system up and find everything that's sweet. It's like, it's an addiction. There's a subconscious, like, I want it. But these 2 little ones, they deserve better than that, right? They deserve more than that. They deserve a papa, we call me, a father or dad or mom. They deserve more. They deserve somebody that has that mental presence, that's able to feel better, that's able to thrive better, right? And knowing that I'm binge eating on food at night and wanting to binge eat and have to like fight through urges, like that sucks. Like you can't, if you're fighting urges all the time, it's hard to be a better person. It's hard to focus on the things that matter, right? And so, introducing this back, so we'll see how today goes. Actually, today I had my keto nap pretty early, around 9 o'clock, and I haven't actually had anything, carbs and sugar wise. But I'm gonna have some fruit later. I'm gonna purposely eat some carbs, see like how much I can fluctuate in my body. To see how this social experiment really goes. And because at the end of the day, it's like we all want to perform better, right? We all want to sleep better. We all want to have more focus in our brain. We all want to cognitively think better. We want to perform better at work or perform better at home or at school. We all want to perform better with our family, with our kids. Being an athlete at a young age and then breaking down. And now it's like, I'm 42 and my goodness, I want to be 60, 70, 80. I want to perform better. If you're in your 40s and you're not thinking this way, you're not thinking what's your life going to be like. You don't have to dwell on the future, but like, what is your life going to be like when you're 50, when you're 60, when you're 70, when you're 80, when you're 90? Remember, we're living longer, right? I hope so. And what's your life going to be like? But it starts today. It starts now. You can't wait. You wait, you're not going to perform. You're going to have to play catch up. And I promise you, playing catch up is not the answer. It's not the success. And so utilizing this strategic tool, our Keto Nap formulas, and all proven technology, I'll be implementing them all back into my life. Hey, keep in mind, everybody is different. So some people are gonna have to go more religious towards a low carb lifestyle longer. I did it for many years, almost 16 years before I had this tool. So some of you are gonna have to go a little bit longer to get your system maybe like under control. Some of you maybe can flex it. Maybe you don't have to do that much. But at the end of the day, can we eat cleaner? Can we be healthier? Can we crave less? Can we perform better in our day and our lives? And whatever way we can do that, amen, let's go do that. Because at the end of the day, like our families, we deserve it. Not screw our families, but like we deserve it. You deserve it for yourself to perform better. But your kids, your mom, your uncle, your family, your coworkers, your employees, the world, we all deserve to perform better. And we just have something that ketones are just they're the answer. They 100% of the answer. It's not the only answer, but they are the answer that can move people in that journey in a better place. So y'all, thanks for listening. Hopefully you got through this. If not, well, watch it again next time. But feel free to share this. Like I'm really passionate about performing better in your life. Perform better in any element of your life. And And if you're an athlete, awesome. We'll get into some athletic stuff about performance, but if you're a mom and dad, anybody else, let's just perform better. And share this, like the page, please share this information, because it's time to change the health of our country. It's time to put this thing into place, because generational to come, if we don't change now, we don't make the impact 2-3 generations from now, they got to try to catch up for the crap that we created, and we have the power to change it. And the power starts with us. So, and I truly believe less processed food, less carbs and sugars, but ketones make that process doable and sustainable for the majority of the masses, and so we can do it together. Y'all have a good day. Say bye to the kids. Bye, y'all.